Well, there's a lot of overlap in jazz and classical harmony once you get to about 1890, and certainly in the 19th century. So I mean, we have everything from Messiaen to Ravel to Debussy, and then even Schoenberg, and you know, then you start getting into 12-tone music, and you know, watch the Leonard Bernstein lectures on serial music and composition, and he shows how tonality can come out of non-tonal music. Atonal, as he calls it. He says, you know, there's no such thing as atonal, because our ear naturally hears stuff, and that, you know, classical guys, they grow up with all kinds of influences. You're going to naturally hear this stuff, and you might not know that we call that sharp 5 flat 9,
Right.
but you're going to know that it's either a stack of triads or it's a certain voicing or a major sonority with added notes. The trick in jazz is the voicing, keeping the root out of the middle of the chord. You know, don't double the bass in octaves. Just little stuff, you know, that you just don't ever do if you want it to sound traditional, you know, jazz. Now, Ellington does that a lot, so he breaks the rules. Of course, when he was writing in the 40s and late 30s, there were no rules. So, you know, that's why I like to go back to him. If you talk about modern jazz writing and even early Duke Ellington, you have what's called the mixed texture. Some people call it that. I don't know, maybe there's another name for it also, where you have unison, you know, mixed stuff that mixes. You have unisons mixed with voice chords, basically. So there's a counterpoint between the melody of the chord voicings and the melody of the unison lines, and they intersect and they come together. That would be more of an advanced big band writing. This is all, everything that's played is all harmonized, and it's probably done by ear. You know, a lot of these guys, I'm absolutely positive this stuff was not written down ahead of time. It might have been written down after the fact. And that's pretty much a rule of modern big band writing, is when you write a thickened line like this, you don't double the lead. You don't need to. And the alto sax or the trumpet, or sometimes even the tenor sax or first bone, is enough to take it. In fact, if you add something, it'll detract it. It'll make it all spread out. You get that unison transparent sound, and that's not what you want. Because there's a lot of places in Coco, a couple places where Duke has the option to have, in the middle of a voicing that moves, have a player play the same line or play kind of a boring line, and he actually takes one and they switch it. So one player leaps up and then the other one leaps down to avoid just being, instead of going like this, they go do 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 do, and then this guy comes down and fills out. So you get this incredible like inner motion that's almost imperceptible. Well, the thing that I learned about voicing for smaller bands is that you don't need all the notes. In fact, it doesn't look like there's a third. Oh, okay, he's playing the third, right? So this is just a three-note chord. There's no fifth in this chord.
But you still got the same intensity of that splat in there.
Right. Well, a lot of it has to do with writing unisons. I mean, the unison is actually more powerful than the big chord. And Thad Jones taught us that, and Bob Brookmeyer. And Ray Wright used to always talk about that. You know, mix the texture. Don't, you know, do da do da do 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 do, unison, spread, bop bop bop, but unison, and
because you can only hear so
like
much.
driven into my head. You know, mix it up. Don't just write with big voicings. You know,
Right.
to make that harmony happen the way it's written, you would have to have the tenor and the bari repeat a note, A flat and the B flat, in the bass clef. So what he does is he crosses the voices, and that's a really good technique when you're writing, because you don't want to have someone going da 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 da. You always want to try and not have, especially in a harmonized line, not having someone repeat a note.